Hello everyone, and in this video we're going to start a brand new 75-gallon tank. This will be the first tank on my brand new rack I just built. And so if you're not subscribed already, go ahead and do that, because we're going to be doing a lot of new tanks. And we're starting off here. The main purpose why I had to get this tank up and going first is because I need a place to bring in my Guppy line that I've been working on from the outside. And so we're getting to the end of summer here in Indiana, so I got to start thinking about having a place to bring those guys in for the winter. I want to do, well, we will do a crypt garden. I've always wanted to do a 75-gallon crypt garden. And it'll be all the different kinds of crypts I have. And I think that'll be really fun. And we're going to put shrimp in here. The shrimp that'll be in here is I have a whole bunch of red shrimp going like crazy in the outside pond with the guppies. And so we're going to bring the guppies in first, but then we'll bring in the shrimp later. So we're going to use black diamond blasting sand, and the most important thing with this is to rinse it. Now I know a lot of people say just put a hose in it and let it run clean, but that's more than that. You have to constantly stir it up. You see all that black dust in there? That you don't want that in your tank. So you can save a lot of money by getting stuff that, like, you can get rocks from landscaping places. But this is always important. When you do that, you can save money, but you always trade your money for the hassle. So a bag of rocks at a fish store, heck, a lot of those ain't even rinsed. They're just got a bag with a fish on it. And it's the exact same thing. So, I mean, you can save money by rinsing the rocks. Now you got to make sure it's going to be safe and it's not going to leach stuff into your... But I've used the black diamond blasting sand dozens and dozens and dozens of times, and it's always worked out really, really well for me. And here we are with the sand in the tank. Looky there, looking good. I was really pleased. They finally had, this is the largest grit they've had. When you use the black diamond blasting sand, you want the largest grit you can possibly get. And this is borderline between large grit and medium grit, somewhere in that area. And usually they have the fines or the fine to medium. And this is the medium to large. So pretty pumped about that. I think that'll do nicely. So now we got to build ourselves a filter for this thing. This will be the heart of the setup. This is a 1,000-gallon per hour pump. We're going crazy at this. This is the pump that powered the 110-gallon guppy pond that was here. This rack was. And so it's still good. I took it all apart, cleaned it all out. Runs like it's new. So let's get to building. All right. So the first thing we got to do, this is the suck hole, and this is the shooting it out hole. So we're going to make a contraption so the water gets sucked in through sponges and then shoots out through a spray bar. So that means the first thing we got to do is cut a little piece of pipe to come off the suck end. We don't need very much. And that will slide in there like so. Then we need an elbow. And this will go on like so. And then we're going to use 3 sponges. So now the next step is figuring out how tall 3 sponges are. 3 sponges here. Put this guy right here. Now, let's go ahead and just do it like this. No. And so then we know right here is where we need to make our cut. right where I put my finger. This thing's starting to get dull, or I'm getting weak. Might be a little of both. So then this will go like so. And that's probably going to be a little too long, but we'll cut a little bit off that. It's better to make it too long than too short. And there'll be a cap right there. And that's like that. So I'm going to take a little bit off here. Ooh. That should work perfectly. Let's see here. Oh yeah, that works good. And then the cap, a little bit on there, and that'll be perfect. So we got that done. And so you may be saying, well, how the water is going to get in there? We got to cut holes in here now. I used to drill a bunch of holes, but I found if I use a Dremel tool and cut bigger slots, and I end up having better flow. So I'm gonna cut a whole bunch of slots through here and see where that gets us. All right, so after a while long delay, my little Dremel tool isn't long enough. The battery doesn't last long enough to do this without stopping and recharging it. So now we have our suck tube ready to go. So this is going to allow a lot more flow than just drilling holes. And then we grab a cap. And there's that. And that's going to live right there like that. We need roughly about that. So this is the part where I literally eyeball everything. I don't measure a single thing. So on the spray bar part of it, I am just right here. I'm just eyeballing it, cutting a piece. Usually, if you cut it, you err on the side of cutting it too long, because you can always cut a little bit more off. And that's all I'm doing here. It's just a spray bar and a hook to hold it in place. It's pretty simple. Alright, so this is what we've got going on here. We start off with the pump, the water. This is the suck side. So the water's being sucked in through the sponges, up there, and across the spray bar, distributed throughout the tank. So now we got the filter, so now we got to fill it up with the water. Well, now we're into the next day, and the problem we have here is on the spray bar, I knew I needed to make a whole lot of holes that are pretty decent, but apparently I didn't make enough, because I've never made a spray bar with 1,000, I think it's 1,096, so it's like 1,100 almost gallons per hour. And I always like to have my spray bars pointing up just a little bit to break the surface. And when I first plugged this in, I had water spraying out all the way out to here, like relentlessly, like holy crap. So I'm gonna have to double up the holes on the spray bar and see if that helps. Maybe even make the holes bigger. We'll see. I honestly don't know. The beauty of it is, something I haven't mentioned earlier, is this joint here you don't want to glue that. And then this joint here, you don't want to glue that. So then the spray bar is removable and adjustable. Now, I didn't glue it to the pump, but that joint there is glued. Then everything else here is glued. So let's see if we can tame this thing down a little bit by putting some more holes in it. And I'm also going to be running a heater on here. Now, it's very important I tell this to everyone. If you're going to use a heater, you need to use a heat controller. And so we have an Eheim heater here and an Inkbird temp controller there. We're going to go with 77 degrees. I'm not going to keep it too hot, but I want my guppies to stay nice and warm all throughout the cold winter and fall. So that's why I'm doing that. So let's see if this spray bar, this version will work a little better. So the original one was this, and I put a bigger hole in between all the holes I had. So hopefully that calms down the current because this thing is swirling around like a hot tub. Let's see if this does any better. So I am taking out some water to make sure this will work with water changes. I'm probably going to have to point it down a little bit more. Yeah, we got water shooting out of the tank a little bit. Alright, so we pointed it down just a little bit more. Let's see what happens when we let the water get low like we would for a water change. Well, I had to point it down some more. Good grief. Tell you what, that cutting the big slots in the intake instead of just drilling holes really makes these pumps flow full capacity. Man. But we ain't got to worry about gunk collecting in this one. Everything that ends up on the bottom will get swept up and sucked into the filter, that's for sure. Oh, look at that. That's crazy. Okay, so now we're going to seed this tank. In this bucket, I have a very dirty sponge filter. I'll make sure there's no shrimp on it before I do this. Alright, let's seed it up. This thing is pretty full. We're just gonna, it's coming out of a 20-gallon tank, my 20-gallon Blue Dream tank. So we're just gonna get it all mucked up. Now when you do this, you want to make sure you get it from a perfectly healthy tank because you don't want to have it out of a problem tank and then have problems. Get some over here. Get it all mixed in. Gonna clean this entire sponge. In here. And this will get our cycle jump started for sure. All right. We don't want to get it perfectly clean. And then we'll put it back in the other tank. How'd it come from? All right, so that does it for this video. This is only part one. Part two, after letting all this run through it for a day or two, this will all clear up pretty quick. We'll get the tank will get all nice and seated, and then we'll come back in the next video. We'll be planting it up and adding some guppies from outside. So that'll be an exciting video. So stay tuned if you haven't already subscribed so you know when the next one comes out. Thank you guys for watching. Bye.